good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to Sunday Evening Masterclass with Dr. Charlette. I am so excited about my guest tonight. I have Reverend Jim Webb from the Tacoma Metaphysical Chapel in Tacoma, Maryland, or Tacoma, Washington. And I'm so excited to have Jim and I have been friends for years and years and years and years. And when you ask your friends to do things, you want to make sure you got everything right and tight, right? So I have been wanting to have Reverend Jim on, and I particularly wanted to have him on tonight because we are wrapping up Black History Month, and Spiritual History Month is a part of the whole collective: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial. So we want to incorporate all those things. And Reverend Jim has an incredible new book out, but it's been out a couple of months. And if you have not gotten a copy of this, please, 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 please go to Amazon.com and get a copy of The Soul of Prosperity. This is what it looks like. You can see my book. It's been beat up, child. I read this book. I get something out of this book every day. It is widely recommended by Yama Van Zant, who's going to be doing a class with Reverend Jim on this topic. But he's going to spend some time with us this evening, and he's going to talk to us about the soul of prosperity. I've always said that prosperity is not about cash. It's about consciousness. And Reverend Jim is going to talk to us about that in such a way you are going to be blown away. I recommend you go and check him out, not just on Amazon. You can get the book, but he is the senior minister at the Tacoma Metaphysical Chapel. If you go TacomaChapel.org, you will see all the amazing things that they are doing. And even though they're still meeting remotely, there are lots of things that he's going to share with you about the classes and things that we are continuing to do, because I am absolutely positively certain that all of us that are of like mind, new thought, consciousness, recognize that we are in the fight of our lives for the soul of America. Marianne has she wrote a book many years ago called The Seed of the Soul, and then she upgraded that book a few years ago on healing the soul of America. And so we are in a process now where we need a miracle. I saw Marianne on Facebook and Instagram. No, it was Instagram the other night, and I have to tell you, when they invaded the Ukraine, and I honestly have not seen Marianne in that state in many years, and she represents a lot of the consciousness, as well as Iyana and one of my spiritual teachers, Reverend Shahara Stevens. And we see that the New Thought world is really coming together. Every day I'm asking everyone every day, and I put this up on Facebook and Instagram, but I'm asking everyone at 12 o'clock, wherever you live, whatever time zone you're in, at 12 o'clock, to just say, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. You don't have to stop doing anything. You don't have to close your eyes. You don't have to sit down and you don't have to do anything. Just send love and peace and harmony out into this world, because what the world needs now is love, sweet love, not just for some, but for everyone. So we are in the fight of our lives, I believe, to heal the soul of America. But I do firmly believe, Reverend Sylvia talked about it this morning. She said, you can't just have faith in God. You have to have faith of God. So you got to lift your consciousness to the power of the Most High and have faith and belief that all things are possible when we change the way we see the world we see will change. So we're going to have Jim come on with us after our break, and we're going to talk about the soul of prosperity. He has a roadmap, or how to create your own personal roadmap on how to deal with the soul of prosperity, because prosperity begins within. As you focus on internally, I call it your income, you will make manifest your outcome. So, Pastor Michael, how are you tonight? Did he? There he is. How you doing tonight?
I am doing great. I've got a chance to meet your guest. Man, I'm excited. This is going to be a great show tonight.
Amazing. He's amazing. And I tell you, I love being able to tell people, how the people that I know. And when I say, I know him and I know her and I know that, my grandfather used to say, I'm walking in tall cotton. You know, I got friends in high places doing amazing things. And so I'm really excited to have Jim on. So what's going on in the bunker, in the secret location?
Shh, you're not supposed to tell anyone.
Not
Okay.
telling
No,
anybody,
no, no. Okay.
not telling.
I wanted to show this tonight. Reverend Robert, we here at the New Thought Media Network, we are supporting the Ukraine in prayer. We have 6 new practitioners who are in the Kyiv area
Mm-hmm.
that are spending their nights in bomb shelters.
Yeah.
So we are going to have a planetary prayer for global peace starting March 1st, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. That's 4:30 p.m. Greenwich Means Time. And also on Saturdays, 8:30 Mountain Time, 3:30 GMT. And again, it's an interactive experience over Zoom. If you'd like more information about that, all you need to do is go to info at ntmedia.org, info at ntmedia.org, and we'll give you the Zoom room and everything else. But we are knowing peace beyond the beyond the news. We are knowing that again that we are working on our own peaceful consciousness before we tell anyone else to be peaceful.
Yes.
So that's what's going on. So again, so mark that on your calendar. Again, if you'd like more information, that's info at ntmedia.org.
Again, that's one of the reasons why I love this network so much, and I have just committed myself to spreading the good news with as many as we can, to have as many people join on this network. When you and I talk about this all the time, and we're saying that, CNN as well as Fox and MSNBC, they are just from the right, from the left to the center. Some, it's all negative news. And it just, we need to start to really connect to that soul, that consciousness, that inner being, because I don't believe that anyone honestly and truthfully, well, there are maybe a couple that are just mean spirited at their core. I think that fear, Course in Miracles, and that's another thing. Reverend Jim is an expert on A Course in Miracles. He's up there with the Course in Miracles. Really, really great.
He has a big smile on his face in
Oh
the
yeah,
green room.
he's awesome. He's awesome. I don't go toe to toe with him. I said, Reverend Jim, where we get that lesson from? He is amazing. But Marianne is doing A Course in Miracles every day for the workbook, every day for this year. So I think we're like on lesson 70, but we've been doing it since January the 1st. And I've been doing this workbook with her, every day. So it's never too late. If you're interested in A Course in Miracles, you can also just go on, Marianne.com, and you can sign up to do that. I think that it is essential that we learn how to use truth principles, those principles that help us, guide us, and direct us. But A Course in Miracles teaches us there are only 2 emotions. You're either coming from a place of love or you're coming from a place of fear. And the cornerstone of the course is nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists, and herein lies the peace of God. So the whole idea is that everything that's in here is a matter of perception.
Yes.
It's all an illusion, because what you're thinking here is not what's going on out here. You're either coming from that place of love or you're coming from a place of fear. And that fear can be diagrammed down. Fear can be anger, it can be upset, it can be hate, it can be disdain, it can be all of those things. Anything that isn't love is a cry for love. So it often say if you're moving out of love, you're moving away from God. And all you have to do is return to love, and you return to the peace of God. And I believe that forgiveness, faith, gratitude, and love are those four components that will bring you to that. Forgiveness and love are the cornerstone to the course. So I'm always, forgiveness is my thing. So I say you should actively pursue someone every day to forgive, to ask for forgiveness and to forgive. So we're going to get really into that with Reverend Jim, because it's when you coming from a place of love, you raise the level of your vibration, and as you raise the level of your vibration, guess what? You open yourself up to receive.
And I think that, again, all New Thought teaches that, again, that we can overcome what is in the physical by, again, going back to first cause or the mental. So again, as we join our hearts and our minds together for the peace in the Ukraine and peace in the world, I really do believe that we're starting to hear some good news, but I think that you're going to hear a lot more wonderful news here in the next week or so.
I do too. And I think that, that president of the Ukraine is just an amazing, and I believe that he is a spiritual man, because he is standing on the principle of democracy and the principle of truth. He's not hiding away in a bunker someplace protecting. He is out there being the David to this Goliath, and he really and truly is doing a great thing. So as we just take your time, every time you think about it, just say, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. So anything you want to add before we go and take our little break?
No, I'm good. Do you want to do break now? You can talk for a few more minutes.
For a few more minutes. So I was this morning, I was on my walk. And as I was going on my walk this morning, I saw these two people, and they both had a dog, and they were walking towards each other. And I watched because I wanted to see how these dogs were going to interact with one another. And it was so interesting to me because the owners seemed to be more fearful than the dogs themselves. In fact, neither dog barked. Both of their tails started to wag, and it was almost like, they were happy to see each other, or that I thought maybe the ladies knew each other, but in fact they didn't. And these two dogs just kind of sniffed at each other as they were coming to pass, and both the tails were wagging and all of that. And then the woman just kept on walking her way, and the other woman kept walking the other way. And I thought to myself, what if we could greet our neighbor? What if we could connect to the consciousness of the I am in a stranger or a person that we didn't know? Because there's only one power and one presence in the universe. There's only one I am, and there's that power and that presence is the I am that dwells within all of us. So the God in me salutes the God in you. The consciousness of Christ in me acknowledges and receives the consciousness of you, of the I am within you. So if I can see love in my neighbor, My neighbor can see love in me, because the eyes are the window of the soul. So as we get into and we start to talk with, I'm so excited about, again, about having Reverend Jim with us, because he's going to talk to us about how to create our roadmap. And as I said, I you can see I have highlighted, I have all kinds of things in here, and lines. But every morning when I'm in my office right now, this sits right next to my computer, and I just open the book. I have a routine that I go through in the morning, and I read something, I listen to something, and I listen to A Course in Miracles. So I try to fill myself with a spiritual break fast before I go out for my walk during the day. So I'm really and truly excited. I keep saying that I'm really going over, but I'm really excited about it. So we're going to take a break. We're going to pay some bills, and I just want to thank you for joining us. This is Sunday Night Masterclass on New Thought Media Radio.
Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, for your continued support. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, for your monthly contribution. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, for your monthly contribution. And please help us welcome Om Center for Spiritual Living in La Mesa, California. Thank you for your monthly donation. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, for your most generous donation. And a special thanks to Heckerland Foundation for your generous technology grant. And Suze Ogden, thank you for your very generous donation. And a big shout out to all our committed donors.
Hey, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I want to take this opportunity. There's so many things I can say about Reverend Jim. So many things that I can say, but I want you to get a full appreciation of who we have on here with us tonight. And you know, Reverend Jim is he had a position of vice president of marketing for a computer company. Went to the Wharton School, University in Pennsylvania. This dude has credentials up the yah. So I mean, I could go on and say, but he was anointed. His spirit was called. He left corporate America because God touched him and said to him, there's work that I have for you to do. He answered the call, and he has been doing this work for over 20 years. He's written several books, Pathways to Inner Peace and the Keys to the Enlightened Living. And but my favorite book, my favorite, and I mean, there's something to be learned in everything. And I'm just on top of it with you in A Course in Miracles. And I absolutely love your teachings of A Course in Miracles. But the Soul of Prosperity has become my consciousness reading of uplifting my spiritual know that I am worthy to be abundant in this life. So I want to welcome my friend, Reverend Jim Webb. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being with me tonight. I love you so much.
And back at you, my beloved. And it's such an honor to be here.
Yes, indeed. I said to Michael earlier today, because this, I said, working for the Lord ain't easy. Okay. We don't do it for the money, and Michael and I were talking, and he said, but why not? Jesus wasn't broke.
Amen.
And Catherine Ponder had so many books on the prosperity of consciousness, because we know that it all begins within. So I
Yes.
want to jump right into it, and I want you to tell us, what is the soul of prosperity?
The soul of prosperity is the inner consciousness that you develop in a very concentrated way that allows the prosperity of the universe to flow to you easily and effortlessly. And it's more than just money and stuff. It, of course, begins with that feeling of oneness with Source that causes you to know that you are beloved, that you are deserving, and that Source wills for you your good. A Course in Miracles lessons 100 through 103 say, God's will for me is perfect happiness, and I agree with God's will for me. And what that establishes is a different consciousness than the consciousness that raised us. It
Mhm.
establishes a radical idea that God wants us to be happy, fulfilled, joyful, because God's joy is not complete because God expresses through us as us. And
Mm,
until we can express joy, we do not fully enable God's expression. For that is why we were created as expressions, extensions, and embodiments of the light of God. So that radical idea, God's will for us is perfect happiness,
mm,
is the consciousness that allows prosperity. And prosperity is more than just money and stuff, as I said before. Relationship prosperity, where, and I outline this in my book, The Soul of Prosperity, where you feel such a harmony with people that you can spend a moment with someone and it seems like you could spend a lifetime with them.
mhm,
Professional prosperity, where you know that the work and the energy that you offer is aptly rewarded and is rewarding to you and is of help to the planet. Financial prosperity is not about how much money you make.
mhm.
It's about having peace and being in the financial flow so that even if you're on a budget of $20,000, you aren't worried about money. Because I've had friends who have had six-figure salaries and seven-figure debts. And I've
Yeah.
had friends who have had next to nothing. And I've seen people who had next to nothing who have more financial prosperity than people with six-figure incomes and seven-figure debts.
That is so true, because I tell people all the time, Reverend Jim, I don't know how our parents and grandparents did it. And
Hmm.
you had grandparents or parents with 8, 9, 10 children, and all of them went to
Hmm.
college. And I mean, you kept saying, how did
How'd
they
they
do
do
that?
that?
Exactly, exactly. No, it's
Yes.
to be true. Yes, indeed. They used to say you could squeeze a nickel to the buffalo.
Yeah, we use that phrase. We
Oh
call it to the
yeah.
buffalo. We clean it up to say you could squeeze it until the buffalo cried.
Oh yeah, there you go. I like that one. Okay. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. But
Mhm.
the greatest aspect of prosperity is spiritual prosperity,
Mhm.
where deep within you, you know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you are at one with Source, that Source is love, and so are you, and that place of peace within you that has been preserved no matter what is going on in your outer world is what you cultivate. And by cultivating that inner light, you allow every aspect of prosperity to come to you easily and effortlessly.
So how do you get, and you know that, and I so totally agree with you. And you know, I'm sure some of my friends out there, which when I got money, I'm cool as a cucumber. I mean, I can go in the flow and all of that, but my bank account gets to a certain level, my fear kicks in, my
Yes.
panic kicks in because
Uh-huh.
I don't I get out of the being in the moment, the present,
Yes.
and
Yes.
recognizing that the present is the gift. And
Yes.
if you got everything that you need right here, right now, then you let
Mhm.
the universe handle the details for that next moment. So, how
Yes.
do we stay into the consciousness of prosperity?
We stay in the consciousness of prosperity by focusing on the consciousness within us, as
Mhm.
opposed to what is happening in our outer world. And let me
Yeah.
use the example that you offered. We know that waves come up on the shore and then they recede, and they come up on the shore and they recede. And we know what Ecclesiastes said, to everything there's a time and a season. And we know that if we don't know it from Ecclesiastes, we know it from the birds in that song in the 60s, to everything turn, turn, turn. So,
Mhm.
what happens when our bank account starts getting a little low? We realize that we can either go into fear or realize this is an invitation to turn a no into a yes.
Mm.
So we can
Wow.
ask, what is the unconscious no that is in this moment inhibiting the flow of my good? Is it an unconscious fear? Is it an unconscious shame? Is it simply something buried deep within me that the
Mm.
light is now touching and pulling up for healing so that
Mm.
I can open to more? And when we go into meditation and prayer and we ask and we open, we hear the answer and we know we have an awareness of our inner consciousness. And
Wow.
when we expose that consciousness to light and to truth, we can turn that no into a yes. And we
Mm.
can then move ourselves back into the flow. So that momentary ebb is an invitation to flow and to grow, because it brings us to an awareness of something that might be saying, let's put the brakes on this for a while.
Mhm.
And it's not God putting the brakes on, it's us bumping up against a no that's ready to be turned into a yes.
Wow. That's, you know, as they say on the corner, that's deep. That is really deep. So you also said, and I wanted to get this before we take a break. I was reading in here, you know, how to create your roadmap, and you
Yes.
have this, and one of the areas here, prosperity is multidimensional.
Yes.
Can you share with us a little bit about that?
Yes. We always think of it as money and stuff. But what about relationships?
Mm-hmm.
You could have all the money and stuff you want. However, if you don't have relationships that are supportive, nurturing, affirming, and that reflect love to you, how awful is that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What about professional expression, whatever that may be, or whatever it is that you do where you spend most of your time? If
Mm-hmm.
you have a whole lot of money, but you hate your job, or you've got a 3 hour commute each way and you have no life,
Mm-hmm.
what's the point of that?
Mm-hmm.
And so there are so many other aspects to our overarching well being. And we tend to focus on money as a barometer of our well being.
Yes.
But that's a misleading barometer of our well being,
Mm-hmm.
because we believe that money is a proxy for our goodness. But there is no proxy for our goodness,
Mm-hmm.
because our goodness is an intrinsic part of us. So we don't need to prove it in any way by proving how much money we have, because we believe that our money is our worth. But our money has nothing to do with our worth. We
Mm-hmm.
are intrinsically worthwhile. And when we develop that inner consciousness, that worth shows up not only in our bank accounts, but it shows up in our relationships. It shows up in our jobs. It shows up with our families. It shows up in our logistics, which is an aspect of prosperity we often forget. We forget about having an easy and effortless life that is
Mm-hmm.
not a struggle, that is
Yeah.
peaceful and joyful. We think that there's a tax to be paid. I call it the guilt tax. The tax
Mm,
to be paid for being human out of guilt because we forgot that we were beloved, holy, and innocent just as we are. So we believe we have to struggle. We believe we have to experience pain. But A Course in Miracles lesson 190 says, I choose the joy of God instead of pain. Pain is an indication that something in our consciousness is ready to be healed and that pain need not be. And so we can have logistical prosperity. Instead of that 3-hour each way commute to a house that we can barely pay for and we never see during the light of day,
mm-hmm.
we can have an easy, effortless, joyful life where things seem to fall in place and life is a joy instead of a chore. And
Yeah.
we can allow that for ourselves. There is no price to be paid for our good. So those are some of the other dimensions of
Mm-hmm.
prosperity.
Yes. Honestly, what can I say? I mean, you are bringing it, honestly. And it is a deeper, wider understanding, I think, because I'm hearing the voice of your words, and I'm feeling the vibration of that. And I know that everything is vibration.
Yes.
Everything, and as you raise, like you said, even the ebb and the flow of life, you are still in that vibration. The higher the vibration that you're in, the better you feel. The lower the vibration, you feel weighted into the world and all of the stuff that's going on in the world. But we
Yes.
know that there are 7 levels of consciousness, and we are living on all 7 of those levels. And
Yes.
the idea is for us to be into that law of attraction that uplifts us into
Yes.
that consciousness of I am, so that every time we say I am, and see, it all comes down to this worthiness thing. And it's
Yes.
that old paradigm of thinking that because I'm a woman, or because I'm black, or because I'm old, or because of whatever the dynamic is that you are using as a, what you call it, a guilt, what?
The guilt tax.
The guilt tax. I like, you gonna hear that again. Okay, I'm gonna borrow that. That's again, honey, let me tell you, I have overpaid that guilt tax. Okay, I
Amen.
need a refund.
Amen.
I need a
Uh-huh.
refund off of that.
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
looking at it and I'm saying to and this is what I mean. Oh, please, 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 you guys, you got to get this book. And of course, Reverend Jim, not only do I want to have you back on my show, I really believe that this network, Michael, can you pop in for a second? I really believe this network would, don't you, Michael? Don't you think this
Oh,
is
he's absolutely wonderful. Can
is
I ask a question?
powerful? Yes, absolutely.
All right. So Reverend Webb.
Here we go.
So
Yes, Mike.
we hear on uh, YouTube and other places about the prosperity gospel,
Yes.
and that uh, you see these preachers or ministers again prospering, and then complaints that their congregants aren't, because again
Yes.
that they give, but it really doesn't show tangible results in their lives. So my question is, how is what you're teaching different from the prosperity gospel?
Prosperity gospel, not to cast aspersions, it tends to focus on outer results and outer manifestations versus the inner consciousness that, and I won't even say creates or attracts outer results, but allows outer results. For example, you know, my approach to prosperity has to do with healing and transforming the inner saboteurs, many of which we don't even know we have. The inner child and its wounding, the inner sinner, the inner saint, and these two opposing energies, the inner guilt that we experience. And those are the things that sabotage our prosperity. And until we understand how they work, and until we can redeploy them, like the inner judge and the inner critic, until we understand how they work, and until we redeploy them, we are at war with ourselves. And how can we, as Lincoln said, a house divided against itself cannot stand? How can we allow prosperity when there's a part of us within us that hates us?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. And so and that's what I've talked to people about, is that when we teach prosperity in New Thought, that we teach again a holistic prosperity.
Yes.
That we also is that if what you are doing, if you are giving to, for example, a church or places of worship because you have to, then what that does, unfortunately, is that blocks your prosperity when you
Yes.
by giving, because again, you have a negative block within you. Jesus taught the whole idea of love,
Yes.
of the whole idea of give and it shall be given unto you. But again, give in love. And also, I really liked what you said about working on the inner person, is that I think that's and again, I'm not disparaging anybody either. I'm just saying that is a part of prosperity. Yes, it's important to give to where that you get your spiritual food. That's important. But that's a part of, again, of getting in the flow and being, again, changing your consciousness or aligning your consciousness with the all that is.
Absolutely. And the often misunderstood aspect of allowing prosperity is the part of prosperity that has to do with that inner healing. A Course in Miracles says everybody's entitled to a miracle, but purification is necessary first.
That's right.
And what this means is, if I have unconscious parts of me that do not believe that I am worthy, that do not believe that I deserve, that do not believe that I am loved or lovable or loving, that do not believe that I am the light, then they're not going to create the expansive aspect of the unlimited joy of God. They're going to create, if you don't believe that you're the light, what are you going to create? You're going to create darkness. If you don't believe that you are the recipient of infinite love, how can you create infinite love? If you don't believe that you are deserving of infinite joy, how can you create infinite joy? So that inner experience where you continually cultivate your inner consciousness of oneness with God, and God being love is happiness, which is, of course, in Miracles Lessons 103, 104. And when you cultivate that inner consciousness to the degree that every layer of your consciousness is successively healed, transformed, and opened to this light, then it is inevitable that your prosperity in your outer world in every form shall be easy, effortless, and apparent.
Wow. Well, I got to tell you, my favorite chapter, maybe should we take a break, Michael, and then come back, or do we have a couple minutes? I'm going to go ahead and talk. My favorite chapter in the book is the power of prayer. So while you were talking about that, I was saying, affirm your worthiness, innocence, and perfection. It says, when you affirm your worthiness, you affirm that you deserve your good. This truth drives out consciousness or subconscious energies to the contrary. You overwhelm any subconscious feelings of unworthiness with the energy of worthiness that draws your good to you. And I mean, you got pray with expectancy, affirm your willingness, your personal prayer prescription, energy of prayer. These are all things that I have been working to endeavor to do, because I have to tell you, COVID, I have been in a COVID coma. So much, and I mean, things that in this space and time, I mean, things I know better. I find myself being sucked into that, the abyss of this negative energy that's going on. And rather than, it's one of, I think in Harry Potter, one of the things when Ron is being sucked into this thing, saying, just be still, just be still, and allow yourself to just be in the stillness of the drama that's going on around you. And sometimes it's so difficult. So I keep trying. I have, meditation that I do with Cynthia Henderson, and I listen to Abraham, and I read A Course in Miracles, and I'm reading The Soul of Prosperity, and I keep trying to keep myself filled up, because it's so much drama going on out in the world now that I mean, this has become, I don't want you just to think that I'm having you here because I just think you're a nice man. I think you're offering some amazing stuff to change the consciousness of this planet, which we so desperately need right now.
Absolutely. And you just hit on a gold mine, which is the X factor of prosperity. Is emotional healing the emotional body. Because the emotions, what we don't realize is that nexus between the heart chakra and the solar plexus, like a Venn diagram where those two come together, that's the creative core of our energy.
Wow.
And when our heart chakra is open to love, and when our emotional body is in a place of peace, that's when we can allow God's will for us to be made manifest effortlessly, for there is nothing blocking it. And what is the prerequisite to that? The prerequisite to that is the emotional healing the emotional body. Wow. And that's the X factor.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I'm getting a sign here telling me I need to go pay some bills. So listen, before we take a break, this is what New Thought Media Network is all about. This is the kind of conversation that we want to have with our audiences now. We know that they are bombarded enough with MSNBC, CNN, CBS, ABC, Fox, all of that. You're inundated with all of this. Here is true food for the soul. I mean to tell you, this is really feeding my spirit, and I'm so grateful to have you. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk a little bit more. This is Sunday Evening Masterclass with Dr. Charlette on the New Thought Media Network.
New Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience, or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.
right. We are back with my buddy, my friend. Oh, this hour has gone by so quickly. I wanted to again, I mean, I keep saying my favorite chapter, every chapter, but the last chapter really encapsulates everything, the rinse and repeat. So, I mean, I really like that because, everybody in your life doesn't have the highest and best intention for your life. And I think that everybody realizes that we are all like crabs in a barrel. Misery loves company, all of that good stuff. So when you awaken to a different level of consciousness, you start to recognize that everybody that's in your circle, or I say, if you're the big fish in your pond, it's time for a new pond. But I often see that you find that, and I'm guilty of this myself. One of my biggest fears is leaving my pond because I'm comfortable in that pond, and I know that, the comfort level in that pond is it's okay. It answers my immediate needs. You know what I'm saying? But I know that God keeps pushing me, pressing me. And I keep, well, what do you want? What do you want me to do? So I like the rinse and repeat part because it kind of says here, you will encounter obstacles. And so when you know that you're going to encounter an obstacle, just say, bring it on. Bring it on. Steve Harvey said, and jump. If you don't jump, you will never go no. Yeah, you may get battered and bruised and all of that. But if you jump in faith, the parachute will open in faith. So I was looking at this and I was saying, believe in your progress. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yes. This is what happens with a lot of folks when we don't realize the dynamics of growth. What happens is we make a few steps forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we might hit stumble. And we say, I knew this stuff didn't work. Or we say, I knew that wasn't going to work. Or we get discouraged. Or we allow that moment of momentary disappointment overshadow all the progress we've made. And to use a football analogy, we could have gone down the field 99 yards. We could be at the 1 yard line and get tackled and stop, not realizing that same momentum that brought us 99 yards has no choice but to bring us over the goal line. Wow. And so it's important to understand, like I said before, the cyclical nature of growth. Also, that each time we run into an obstacle, it's nothing outside of us. Mm-hmm. That thing outside of us that appears to be an obstacle is simply an outer reflection of a deeper level of consciousness within us that is being healed, that is turning an inner no into a yes. And it is a sign of progress. It's not a sign that we made a mistake. It's not a sign that we're wrong. And it's not a sign that this isn't working. It actually is a sign that this is working, because the light and the healing and the grace that we are calling forth and that we are creating with is moving into a deeper level of our being until every layer of our being is operating with a light, love, and grace. And anything unlike it has been healed. And that is when there is no no and there is only the yes of God. And we are simply reflectors of, recipients of, and repositories of the yes of God. Wow. And when that yes of God within us shines out, the yes of God shows up.
We be on like Donkey Kong. I wanted to share before we run out of time. I wanted to also share that, I talk about the fact that I worked for Marianne Williamson for 7 years, and, how I was introduced to A Course in Miracles and a lot of other stuff. And what a lot of people may not know is one of your closest and dearest friends is Iyanla Van Sant. And when you made the comment about, that 99 yards, Iyanla always says we quit 5 minutes before our miracle shows up. And I think that was in Piece of Broken Pieces, or I can't remember which book it is, but I know that she's going to be doing your Soul to Prosperity on her program, right? She's going to be doing Yeah, so we want to grab a hold of you and make sure that we got you, because I really do think that this is something that the soul of prosperity is really about healing the soul, healing the consciousness, thinking about the value that we all have to offer this world. And I think we are in the throes of what we're in now, because the universe is trying to give birth to this new consciousness, or I shouldn't say trying, is giving birth to this new consciousness. And we are all midwives and midmen to giving birth to this. And when you have, and you if you are placed in a circumstance or a situation where you have to deliver something and not know what you do, it will happen. But just think, if you just have the template, you have the template as you're giving birth to this new consciousness, that you have the roadmap and the tools and the right way to organize your thinking and to bring forth those things that the universe, because we are all chosen. I think it's the word, I forget who said, all of us are called, a few of us show up.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So I mean, I'm delighted with the work that you're doing. I'm even more delighted in the fact that I know you, and I consider you to be not just somebody that wrote a book, but somebody that's in the deep recesses of my friendship. I've spoken at your church before, and we have shared and collaborated with each other on other things, and I can only see our spiritual partnership growing. Michael, what do you think? How are you feeling about Reverend Jim tonight?
Go get the book, everyone.
Everybody,
Go get the book. Just go get the book. All right.
you will not be sorry. I mean, how this book is not on every, well, it probably is in every bookstore and bookshelf now. I'm an Amazon fanatic, so I not only do I have the hard copy so that I can write notes and highlight, I also have it on my device, so that you just got to do it in audio, Reverend Jim, so we can listen to it as we walk in. That's the next step, is to get you in there. I think he froze on us. Are you there, Rev? Yeah, I think did we lose him?
He'll come back.
He'll come
Oh,
back.
he'll
Okay.
come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
I think that again, that this is different than what you see on TV
oh yeah.
with the TV preachers. And again, like Jim said, there's nothing, we're not going against them. But what we're saying is that, again, that the reason why a lot of people, even when you give, that what happens is that, again, that there's internal things and beliefs that are keeping you from your good. The giving is just one part of it.
Yes.
So it is an important part. I get that. I know some unity teachers and ministers, if you're not giving that 10th, they won't even talk to you about prosperity.
Yeah.
However, I think that there's a lot more to it. And I think, again, if you really read Catherine Ponder's books, if you really read the other prosperity teachers, again, everyone, go get this book.
Yes. Absolutely.
go out there and get it. It's available again on Amazon, and also you can download it tonight on your Kindle, or what you can do is you can go ahead and you can order it. I think we have Reverend Jim back here. There he is.
Oh, yay!
Yes. I'm so glad I was able to get back. Thank you.
Oh my good. Well, this has happened. It happens sometimes. We get caught up in, but that's always. Oh, I'm so glad. I said I don't want to end this hour with you not here. So we were just talking about just everybody that we should start a book club on this book. I really think so. And I don't know if you're doing it. Are you doing that at the chapel? Have you done a book club on this yet?
Actually, what a brilliant idea. Other people are doing book clubs on my book, but I'm not. So I should.
Duh.
Duh.
Yes, duh. Okay. I tell my girlfriend, I'm a marketing genius. I can't navigate my way through my own stuff, but I'm really good at telling other people how to do their stuff. But honestly, I think really, don't you think, Michael, that would be a
Yeah,
great,
and I'll produce it for you, Jim.
yeah.
Oh, all
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Oh, yeah. We
We'll
have
talk.
the technology now. So,
Yes.
I think that, again, that, we talk about in New Thought about having a very practical spirituality. And again, I think again, the whole idea of being holistic,
Yes.
it's not just, we think it's money. We
Mhm.
think that it's because we have a lack of money, but again, there's deeper things again that need to come up. And I really liked what you said about feelings and emotions.
Yes.
Again, for many, many years here,
Mhm.
and I notice this in people who are long-term in Science of Mind, Unity, other places, where that they are blocked in their emotions and they don't understand why they don't manifest. And so
Exactly.
it's because that we haven't been taught that, again, we go ahead, we feel our emotions to go ahead and to release them. You have 2
Exactly.
minutes.
One of the chapters in my book is about emotional release. And let me
Yes.
tell you what started this chapter. I've been doing counseling and coaching and intuitive reading for 30 years now. And a woman sat down and she talked to me and she said, I pray, I meditate, I do affirmations, but I'm so angry. And I said, honey, your prayers aren't creating your life. Your meditations and your affirmations aren't creating your life. Your anger is creating your life, and that's why you're angry. Because
Yeah.
when you say, I'm angry, Spirit says, I'll give you something to be angry about. Because the universe
That's right.
is simply
That's
a
right.
reflection of your energy. And that's
Mhm.
the importance of emotions, emotional healing, and emotional release. So I dedicate a whole chapter to it in The Soul of Prosperity.
Well, I'm going to have you back because I want you to come back and talk about that. But in the meantime, we're going to start hooking you up, brother. We're going to start setting
Yes.
it up because we need your work. We need your consciousness. We need your roadmap. Lift us
Yes.
to that level. So thank you, my brother. I love you from the depths of my heart. And I am just so grateful that you decided to share this hour with me tonight. So
And I'm
I
so
just want to
honored that you have me.
Mwah.
God bless you.
Peace and
Big kiss on
blessings.
you.
Yes,
God
indeed.
bless you.
Yes, indeed. So I want to thank you all. You see, it was a fun-filled hour. I hope you learned something. This has been Sunday Evening Masterclass with Dr. Charlette on the New Thought Media Network.